Welcome back to Spyro the Dragon. We are now entering the third home world, Magic Crafter's World. So a few words that I have to say for this upcoming home world and the stages that are contained within it are buckle up because we are in for quite a ride. Honestly, most of the stages in this upcoming world are pretty straightforward. I think the enemies, debatably, are pretty annoying and very frustrating to deal with. So we'll see how this goes, but this is typically the part of the game when I start to get a little frustrated. But today's a new day. This is an entirely different playthrough from any of the ones that I've done in the past. Let's get it going. As you can see, we have officially landed in Magic Crafters, and we can already see quite a bit of the world just from the starting point here. We can see the balloonist out there in the distance, and that is essentially the back part of the home world. Kind of cool that you get a little bit of shot from that from just entering.
Welcome to Magic Crafters. I want you to release the dragons, reclaim our treasure, and recover the eggs from those pesky blue thieves.
Ah yes, those pesky blue thieves. We will definitely be taking care of more of those guys, of course, as he hinted. But as you can see here, we have a line of brand new enemies we have not seen in the Spyro universe yet. These are druids. These guys are the bane of my complete entire existence. Druids are pretty interesting. So we have the armored druids, which we just knocked down right there in that little tunnel. And we have the, of course, green druids, which are the guys right here that are making these platforms rise up and down. Of course, we have another blue thief over there holding the dragon eggs. We need to go ahead and take care of him as well. But the druids are pretty annoying, mainly because they can attack you at long range. Some of them don't attack at all, but they can also be little jerks because they can essentially block your path if they make a platform go up, essentially blocking the path that you need to take. So that can be, they can essentially kind of drag out some of the stages by doing that, but there are a lot of other positives, and I'll go through those here in a little bit.
When you see arrows like these, you can charge along with them to begin a supercharge.
Supercharge? Excellent!
Go ahead, try it.
One cool thing about the Magic Crafter's world is we are actually introduced to a new in-game mechanic, and it is the supercharge. This is actually an ability that Spyro has. You just don't know it until you get to this point in the game. Kind of cool. You essentially use those hills, like you saw right there, with the arrows on them as boosts that will allow you to not only make certain jumps that you wouldn't normally be able to make doing your normal jump, but you can also break various containers. You can access, various parts of stages that we will have here coming up a lot easier with those. So kind of cool. They actually allow you to get gems in high up places where you could normally not reach them. So those things are very, very useful. I will admit that I am not the best at using them, and on my first playthrough, I do believe I sucked at using them entirely. So we're going to see how this goes, but there are a couple of parts where I might end up, failing a little bit by using those. We'll just have to see. I'm just going to take out most of these enemies here. That way we kind of scope the rest of the place out for gems. As you can see here, we have another locked chest there. That is not one that requires a key, but I do believe there is one here somewhere that does. But if you remember me saying that you can actually break open specific containers with the supercharge, that is one of them.
This portal leads to a special place where you can learn to fly. I remember when I was a young dragon, earning my wings.
Learn to fly. Got it.
And I have to say, although may not be the highlight of Magic Crafters, the dragons in this world, and I think in these stages specifically, are probably some of my favorite dragons, just because I think their dialogue and their unique designs are a lot more memorable in this stage from what I remember. So that's another positive of the Magic Crafters world. I have to say, overall, I do like it here. I like the environment. I like how it's kind of switching it up from the norm of what we've seen in this game so far. You know, we just came from a very rigid, deserty area, so going into an area that has a little bit of snow, it looks like, you know, it's a little bit colder maybe where we are, and also getting a little bit of taste of some new enemies, even finding out that we have new abilities, just makes this place kind of feel a little bit more refreshed when you're playing the game, kind of preventing burnout. Because I think another reason why I really love this game is it wasn't afraid to switch up the playstyle on you here, because now we're introduced to an entirely new mechanic, and we've already taken on what, like 6 or 7 stages in the game. So another reason why I just really love playing Spyro. So but we're gonna go ahead and clean up what we have left to get here. There's not really much from what I remember, but yeah, as you can see, this druid right here, the green one, he made that platform go up, so that could have caused trouble if we weren't fast enough. So if you have the supercharge, you can actually beat you know, the timer essentially that goes off when he's getting ready to, you know, cast the spell on that platform to make it rise up. So these metal guys are not really a problem. They can hit you directly. I don't believe they cast long range spells, those armored ones, but they can kind of slap you around, you know, if you get a little bit too close to them. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're trying to take those guys out. But here we have the blue thief. So his path here is a little bit trickier. I do believe there is kind of a way you can kind of cheese it a little bit to where you can kind of, you know, catch him as he comes back, because he will reset. Like right there, boom. Okay, awesome. I actually don't remember how you even get up to that higher part of that little cave that he goes into, like right here. I don't know how you get up there. My memory's not served me well already. Not a good sign for this Let's Play, but it's all right, because we did get the dragon egg, so you can kind of cheese it there. Again, if you walk away a little bit, I think this is the case with all of these blue thieves. Walk away a little bit and then come back to where their starting location is, and they will actually reset their location, and they'll be kind of, you know, essentially just start off where they were when you first encountered them. So but now we're going to move right along. I think we have, was that everything here? I think we have a few more things yet left to grab, so we're going to go ahead and search out where those are. Yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of things to explore here. Boom, right here we have a cave. So this is where the supercharge is going to be very useful, because again, we could not have gotten up here without that supercharge ability. Taking a look at my stats here, looks like we have just maybe 10 gems. I think they're in that lock box. Right here is actually where the key is hidden, believe it or not. That just kind of came back to me. I just played through this game like probably not that long ago, maybe like a few weeks ago, and I forgot that that is where the key is. Now that we have the key, we can go ahead and supercharge jump back into this cave. We can unlock this chest, and that will get us the rest of the gems in the home world here in Magic Crafter. So we have 100%ed the home world. Very nice. So now it's time to take on the first stage here in World 3, and it is Alpine Ridge. As you can see, we have a lot of snowy mountains there in the background. That kind of gives you an idea of what the stage is actually going to be like. So kind of cool. Good thing we have flame breath, because we can kind of make ourselves a little bit more toasty in the cold weather. It has to be nice being a dragon. I know they're pretty destructive, but overall I think these guys have it pretty good when it comes to dealing with the winter weather, since they can of course actually make fire come out of their own mouths. So So we arrive here at Alpine Ridge, and you can see we can get a good look at the entire perimeter of the stage here. It's a pretty cool looking stage. This looks like it was taking place somewhere maybe in around, I don't know, ancient Rome or something. I don't know what this exactly is, you know, designed after. But this place looks pretty damn cool nonetheless. Now we have more of these druids. Of course, both the green and armored will still reoccur in this stage. The green ones we want to take out quickly, because again, they're the ones that will cast the spell by changing the platforms, as you can see right here. Another prime example of these guys being kind of, you know, annoying and dragging things out, and having the ability to drag things out, is they can do this to the staircases. They can essentially turn them to where you cannot, you know, get up them, and they will make them essentially a steep hill.
Oh, Spyro! You're not afraid of those big, noisy, gigantic, awful beasts, are you?
Of course not.
Oh, good. I didn't think so.
So we have more humorous dialogue there from some of the dragons. Gotta love it. We'll go ahead and break some of these containers here, getting us more gems. But yeah, I have to say the stages in this homeworld are probably some of more of my favorite stages. I think the ones that we've saw just in the first two worlds weren't quite as creative. They're just kind of more, basic, kind of standard stages, really getting you warmed up to the gameplay and, the scavenging mechanic of looking for all these collectibles. Whereas this part of the game, moving forward, almost lost control there. He made the door kind of shut on me at the last second. I feel like these stages are where the game really starts to go in a much more creative direction in terms of level design. And that's not to hate on like Artisans and those homeworld and the stages that it has there. It's not even to hate on even the last one we just came through, even though it's probably not one of my favorites. I just think that the design choice of having these druids kind of raising and changing the platforms, I just think it is overall a really creative decision to do it.
Thank you for releasing me.
Short and sweet and to the point. I love some of those that, sometimes you just don't want to mess around with some of that dialogue. You kind of get some of those moods every now and then when you play the game. So it's nice to have some dragons that are just kind of thanking you for releasing them and they're off to do their thing. So, but we have more of these armored druids. Just want to take care of them. And these are the guys that we were being warned about by that other dragon moments ago. These are pretty large beasts that you need to kind of take care of. They are very sluggish, so they move around pretty slowly, but with a quick flame attack, you can take them out with absolutely no problem at all. They are pretty nasty if you actually manage to get hit like I did right there. They will swipe the hell out of you with their claws, but again, if you're careful and you kind of keep your distance, it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. So.
Great work, Spyro. If you keep this up, you'll learn all the tricks of the Magic Crafter's world.
Love the words of encouragement by our dragon friends, our elders, so to speak. They're the ones guiding us along the way. So we've arrived at this point here, and this is essentially the point that sends you back to the beginning of the level. We have the return home portal there, but we're not done yet. Just like, typical Spyro fashion, there's always stuff to backtrack to and to find later on in the stage, and that's what we're going to do now. So this part, we probably could have did this before, I don't remember, but there's actually a dragon statue hidden in this little cavern here. We'll go ahead and scope it out and get it. Oh, there's another dragon egg.
Remember that these blue thieves have stolen eggs outside the Magic Crafter's world as well.
Don't worry, I'll take care of them.
Go ahead and go after the next dragon egg. So we have a little bit of a trail this time. I like to, on the first trip through this, just really focus on these chests and all these gems and just, really just focus on collecting them and making sure you're not missing them. Because most likely it's going to take you at least a couple of laps around this track to get to this guy and get the egg. So I think it's important just to go ahead on your first time through here, just grab as many gems as you can, or really grab them all. Unless you want to backtrack through there, more than once, even though we're pretty much already doing that now because he is leaving us behind in the dust like a, I don't know, a track winner or something. So he's a track star, basically is what I'm saying. So we just want to make sure we can we really want to aim for him when he is making that leap off of the cliff there. We want to go ahead and flame the hell out of his ass once he does that, because that is really going to be the only time that we have to do it. Boom, and right there is our egg. We actually got him as he was just about to touch the ground. Not too bad. I'm not going to hate on it. So I talked a lot about some of the changes that they made in this version of Spyro versus the original trilogy, and even some of the backstory of both of the trilogies. And I think it's kind of important and actually kind of enjoyable to learn even more information and try to share it with as many people as I can. I think it's very fascinating to learn how this game was, essentially being worked in development, as well as some other interesting, pieces of information that maybe not everybody out there really knows. Real quick, we have these platforms out here that are kind of isolated with these fireworks, and if I don't fall to my death right here, we can take care of them. as I was saying, you just want to light these fireworks, and then the moment you light one of the boxes, you want to jump to the next platform, and so on and so forth. Because of course, if you stay on that platform, there's really not enough space to avoid the explosion and the damage that is going to happen as those things go off. And if you've ever had 4th of July with family, and you know, the ones that can't be trusted with the fireworks, and you know already that it's a good sign to stay as far away from them as you possibly freaking can. And then that's what you have to do there, essentially. So but I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the changes that they made in this trilogy compared to the original. So there was actually censorship changes that happened in this reignited trilogy, which I can understand completely. But there were some minor changes that occurred during development where they essentially tried to make some of the enemies and their weapons, or maybe some of the environments, a little bit more family friendly. So for example, in Spyro Year of the Dragon, which is actually the 3rd installment in this trilogy, some of the enemies actually wielded what looked like human, you know, realistic guns. And that was actually altered in the remade Spyro Year of the Dragon game to essentially make it to where they're, instead of shooting real guns, they're shooting slime guns instead of like using actual bullets, which I think was a very smart move. I mean, again, it just kind of goes to show how much the times have changed compared to, you know, between the time that this original trilogy was, the original trilogy was under development and being released, you know, way back in like the 90s, and comparing that to today. Well, I mean, I guess this trilogy was even released, you know, it's been what, 7 years already since it was. But you kind of get the idea of how, you know, much time has passed since this game first came out and was released. So it is always fascinating to me to see how some of those changes are, you know, essentially implemented into games and how they kind of come off in games, so we can kind of see, you know, again, the evolution and the growth within the development of a franchise. That always fascinates me. I don't know what it is. So these guys are wizards. So we have a couple of different kinds of wizards in this game. Of course, we have more of these druids as well. But we will have the green wizards, which are the ones that actually shoot targeted magical bolts at you, like lightning bolts. I believe we actually found some of them back in the homeworld area. But we also have elder wizards. Those are the ones with the longer white beards and the blue clothing, which we just saw there moments ago. Now, these are the guys that can actually summon environmental attacks like storms or ice attacks at you. So quite a variety of attacks the enemies actually have in this stage, well, in this home world in general. So that's you know, something to kind of think about when you're, you know, kind of running around looking for gems, is you may have to watch out for some of these attacks being thrown at you magically, you know, at long range, because I don't really think you haven't really seen anything like that up until this point in the game. So again, just having those things to kind of watch out for. Again, like, this game really does a good job with its environments and kind of switching it up and constantly challenging you, you know, even when you're not expecting it. So, but now it's time to head back into Magic Crafters, because we have completed the stage and it is now time to move on to the next one. We're going to take a left turn here, and once again, all the enemies have respawned just like they normally do in each home world. It's now time to head up to the top of this hill, where we will take on the second stage of the area, and it is High Caves. And this one does stick out in my mind in a specific way, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about once we get to it. Another thing I like about the entrance of the levels is, obviously I talked a lot about the backgrounds and how they're all different and they look amazing. But Spyro's angle and how you see him flying into each stage, I believe, is different in almost every stage. At least more, you know, the more you progress throughout each homeworld. Before, in like the earlier stages, like if I remember correctly, back in Artisans, he was kind of more like a side angle. We kind of saw the side of his side profile, and seeing him fly and essentially watching him fly into the stage from that point of view. This time around, as you can see, we get more of a front angle of him, where we can kind of see more of his face. And it actually looks like he's directly flying towards us, so kind of cool. These guys, these are the bane of my existence as well. These guys are probably going to be one of the creepiest, nastiest, most annoying monster you're going to find in this game. These guys are metalback spiders. They are indestructible mechanical spiders, and they actually have to be roasted from a specific flame, not your regular flame, but your super flame. So yes, there's actually another new ability that we will be finding in this stage right here, and it is the super flame. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about once we get there. But these guys are annoying because once again, you cannot do anything to them. They are essentially covered in a sheet of armor, like I said, and they are very vicious. They can run at essentially the same speed as the blue thieves that hold the dragon eggs, and they are actually a lot faster than Spyro's charge. So keep that in mind. When I first played this game, I was very confused on these guys in general, but believe it or not, they actually hold gems inside of them. So we do have to figure out a way to kill them, which we will.
I hate those bugs. When I become big and strong like you, I'll squash them all.
Until then, remember that supercharge makes you invincible.
So yeah, we are actually utilizing the supercharge ability once again in this stage. That is actually going to be the key to destroying those mechanical metalback spiders. We have a bunch of gems we can actually find in this little area right here. There's a lot of these little, I guess you could call these like caves in a way. I mean, I guess they're kind of decorated more to look like a, they look like a, I don't know, like a nice little dining room in somebody's like big mansion or something. The way like it's, the floor looks and like the wall patterns look, I don't know, they always look really cool. But one thing I really feel kind of stupid about in, I'm just now kind of remembering, is I actually messed up and actually made another mistake in, I think it was the last episode, where I was talking about the value of some of the gems that you find in the game. Now there's all sorts of different colored gems in this game. You will find red, green, blue, yellow, and also purple. Purple is one I actually completely forgot that existed because we haven't really found a lot.
Try combining your supercharge with jumping and gliding, and really explore the high caves.
He's just giving us more advice that I've already talked about and we've already essentially showed off. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, the purple gems, which I have not really mentioned in this game yet, are actually the highest value gems in the game. Also, if you fall down this pit right here, do not worry because you will actually not lose an extra life. That is actually a way for you to get back and to get back to this main patch of land right here and essentially reset your location. So it's actually kind of nice, and I wish they would have did that in some other stages coming up later. But what we want to do here is actually use the supercharge, and by utilizing that ramp, we can actually fly through, we can actually fly over to a couple of other caves we could not get to before without it. And as you can see, there's tons of gems in here to find, so you definitely do not want to pass these up as well. Another dragon egg, of course, we got to get this guy. But like I was saying, the purple gems are actually worth the most out of any of the colored gems in this game. They are worth a value of 20. I think I made the mistake of saying the yellow gems, or gold gems, however you want to look at that, are worth the most at 10, and that was just not true. I sometimes get information wrong, and that just so happens that I caught myself a little bit late on that one. So yeah, forget what I said about the gems in the last episode. So purple, yellow, and blue are the highest ones, purple being 20, yellow being 10, and blue are actually worth 5. And then of course green are worth 2, and then red are worth 1. And another thing that can be kind of confusing is you're looking for a certain amount of gems at the end of the day. You're looking to get that final total of whatever it is, 300, 400, 500, whatever that value number is, that's what you have to get in order to 100% the game. What the game doesn't really do a good job of explaining is the different colored gems are all different values. So you could have, I don't know, like 100 gems you're missing, but that could be just 5 of the purple gems. You don't know how exactly the quantity of the gems that you need, which can be confusing. I could see for some people maybe that are new to this game or are just not used to the way the collectibles work in that way. So, but now I think we have one other location to go, and it is all the way over here. This was something I did not figure out on my first time playing this game, but there is a way to get over here that's actually very easy. You just have to take that ramp. The timing of that jump, I believe you just have to hold the jump button long enough until he's high enough in the air, and then that's when you glide. So not only did I not discover this little patch of land the first time I played the game, but once I finally did, it took me, I don't know, over 100 tries just to get over here. I mean, probably not literally over 100, but it took several times of, you know, trying to make that jump, not landing it, you know, gliding too soon and falling to my death. So that's just something I guess had to figure out on my own. I didn't actually look that up if I remember correctly. Maybe I did, I don't know. But there are a lot of other complicated jumps that we still need to make. And I think we have, that's almost all of the dragon eggs. That was like, I think we're at like 10 by now. That was a lot of dragon eggs on the screen right there. We're getting close to our total. I think it would have popped up letting us know if we had them all. So I think we're just like 1 or 2 shy, maybe. I'm not sure. I love how the little fairy creatures here kind of get Spyro to safety there as he's, you know, making his little rounds. So now we are going to use a supercharge to take out these armored spiders. So this is our next thing we need to do. Went ahead and took out the rest of those armored creatures. So now we have the gems that were inside of them. We just need to make sure we didn't miss any on our way through. And we are about to wrap up the stage pretty nicely here. Some more druid guys. These guys are kind of sneaky. Oh crap. I hate how they're placed in these caves because we have to not only avoid these fast-moving spiders, but we also have to avoid the druids and try to, you know, hopefully not get casted upon by their spells. We had some more gems up there in the corner. We're getting close to our final total, and here we go. This is what I was actually talking about earlier. This fairy right here. You go up to her. So after getting kissed by the fairy in the purple dress, you acquire another new ability, Super Flame. This ability is actually on a timer. You are limited to the amount of time that you have in order to use the Super Flame. The Super Flame will also work on these big metal spiders, on these big mechanical spiders, like I mentioned before. Kind of cool, and I really love this mechanic of the game. We will find more of those purple fairies and other stages coming up later as well. So I'm glad that they, you know, make really good use of that ability, I will say. And it is a limited ability. You only get it for a short amount of time. But it is rechargeable. You can go back and get another, you know, more kisses from the fairies. I think it's cute that they do it like that. Kind of threw me off when I first saw that the first time, but I was like, why the hell is a fairy kissing a dragon on the mouth? But, you know, how they did it in the days of Spyro the Dragon. Alright, so we actually want to head over in this direction now, flying off of that platform where the fairy was. We have more creatures and more gems to collect over here. Tornado things, like those things you don't want to get hit by. And if you're like me, where we're getting kind of close to being low on health, you want to make sure you keep as much of that as you possibly can. And crap, we're like getting very close here. When we see sparks turn green, that is essentially the danger color. So we have another dragon statue all the way up here.
Please do something about these green druids. They insist on moving everything in sight.
I am working on it, my friend. I believe it or not, I am actually working on it. These guys have been a pain in my ass for too long already, and it feels like it's not going to end. But yeah, they really aren't that hard. They just have to really avoid their attacks. So let me see here. So this place just looks amazing, man. I just love the way this looks. Okay, here we go. So we need to actually go ahead and fly over to this platform. That will get us more gems over here. We have more of them popping out of the boxes. We'll go ahead and flame this wheel right here, and that's going to do it for our gems. We have finished the stage. We have got all the dragon statues and all the dragon eggs. So we are good to go. Back to return to home. Now, if only I can remember where the hell that was. Make our way through these caves of hell. These things will always haunt me in my nightmares because they always remind me of those giant, scary-looking spiders. Which, by the way, I think they actually looked a lot more vicious than the original, if I remember correctly. Didn't play the original, but I remember seeing screenshots of them. All right, so I remember now going back into this cave is where we will find the return to home portal. So we're going to take that back now. Arriving back in Magic Crafters, it is now time to take on the next stage. We want to actually go this way through this little tunnel here, demolishing any druid in our path. Down there you can see one of those green wizards, just pointing that out once again. But it is now time to take on Wizard Pete. If you thought that the wizards that we've seen already were kind of annoying, then you haven't seen anything yet. We are now entering the actual, I guess, home of where these guys live officially, if it's Wizard Peak. So it kind of gives you an idea of what we're about to encounter. Gotta love the green background. Again, they match the atmosphere of where we are perfectly by just the color scheme and just how the sky actually looks. Look, things are looking a little bit more mystical, and we are immediately thrown into a enemy gauntlet here of some sorts. These guys are a little bit newer. We haven't really seen them yet. They are, I guess, gigantic Nork-like creatures with giant clubs that will smack you down like nothing you have ever seen before. They do hold some pretty high-value gems, so we do want to grab those. Him, well, we will actually take care of him a little bit later. There's a specific way to get up there, and we aren't able to do it in this room. Here are those green wizards. Again, they can just cause those lightning bolts to strike you. You still want to take care of them because they can be quite a pain. Yeah, pretty much as soon as you see those guys, you just kind of want to take them out like immediately. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a world of hurt, just saying. And even though I tried my best there, I still went down.
Welcome to Wizard Peak. This is my favorite supercharged spot. Use it to bash those wizards.
Little wizard bashing with our supercharged spots. We want to go ahead and do that. And look at that. We have made the wizard hunt a little bit easier by using the supercharge hills. Yeah, these guys, it's kind of fun and a little bit cathartic to be able to do something like that, where you can essentially use that supercharge ability to ram these guys into the ground. You will move a lot faster, obviously, when you use the supercharge, so that gives you a little bit of an advantage over some of these wizards that have caused you a little bit of pain. So believe it or not, yes, we are taking matters into our own hands in that way. So I want to go ahead and check over in this tunnel right here. Looks like we have some gems to get. Just want to clear as much as I can on these side parts here. We have a jump we need to make there off that ramp, but we need the supercharge to do it.
Well done, Spyro. Thank you for releasing me.
We saved Hexus there, and as you can see over there on the other side, we have a bunch of those gigantic Nork guys. We want to take care of them here in a bit. But first, we want to utilize the supercharge ability because we want to actually... Where am I going? Actually, I want to go... Okay, hold on. Let me think this through. Sometimes I would just get going on those things and have no idea where the hell to go. Alright, so I will actually use that supercharge across from us to break that container. And we can also use the same cycle to jump off that ramp, getting over to this platform where we have a bunch of gems to collect. You can see there's more out there on those platforms. Cleverly enough, they actually did hide some gems behind that little wall. That's another example of spots you would never think to look in Spyro the Dragon for gems. Again, I think it's really clever when they do that. Like when I first found out that they, we're hiding gems behind that wall, and some other locations we'll kind of see where they, kind of place them in very, sneaky locations. It's really cool. Like, it really goes to show they really kind of thought out, where they wanted to place the gems in this game. They definitely gave their players a challenge in this platformer. So, really cool. We're gonna go and collect as many gems as we can now. More chest here. We have that blue thief just laughing his ass off because he knows that he is holding one of our dragon eggs. This one's a little trickier. He's going to run around this little pool, and I guess I got him there. One thing that's nice is... we have a lot of dragon eggs, but one thing that's nice is Spyro's flame will reach those guys from quite a long distance, so sometimes it'll make some of those chases a little bit easier when they're kind of running around those little tiny bodies of water.
Listen carefully, Spyro. There's a secret area in the artisan's home world near the waterfall. Try jumping on the stones there.
Artisan's homeworld? Waterfall. Sounds good.
So this dragon was the one I was actually talking about, I believe, way back in the first episode when we were at the Artisan's homeworld. So if you remember, the very first flight level back in Artisan's was actually hidden behind a waterfall that was only accessible by stepping on those 5 stepping stones. So this is actually the dragon that tells you that if you were for whatever reason wasn't aware of it, which if you're playing this game for the first time, it's probably not going to be obvious that you have to do that in order to unlock the first flight level. So it clearly made sense to have one of these dragons give you that hint. And I appreciate the fact that they do that, and I think it's really cool. Especially again for new players, because most likely you're probably not going to have any idea that that's anything you can even do, or even knowing that's even a possibility. So I do like that they kind of give you a heads up there. Behind this wall, you will find another thief with a dragon egg, and I think I think we have, yeah, right. That's it. That's all of the dragon eggs. So he actually held the final one. They actually snuck one of those guys behind that wall too. But we have all 12 dragon eggs. So like I said, those are going to be very easy to collect to get your 100% completion. As you can see, we're only in World 3, not even halfway through the game here, and we already have all 12 of them. Not a lot to find overall, but it's kind of cool that, you kind of can knock one of those out pretty early on. Unfortunately, yeah, that will mean that there are no more dragon eggs to find, for the rest of the game, but that's one less collectible you have to worry about. Gonna go back down here. Ram into some of those sheep. Sparks is in need for a little bit of a dinner there, and he's gonna do that with the sheep. What we want to do is actually supercharge to get up to that platform. Try this again. This has to be done at a specific angle. Boom, right there. Now it's very easy to I think that's how you're supposed to make this jump. I'm sure there's other ways of doing it, but that's how I always do it. It's kind of cool to see those mountains out there. I love seeing those little snow-tipped mountains in the background in the stage. But yeah, that is essentially the way I always get that wizard and those gems. Again, if you're going for 100%, you're going to need to make some crazy jumps like that one. Now we need to find a way to get over there, which I don't think we can actually glide there from where we are now. We'll try it though. Nope. See, we're not able to make that one. What we actually really need to do, and I completely forgot that this was actually a thing, is we actually gonna need to go back to the very beginning of the level. If you fly out here, just around the entrance to the level, they definitely did this on purpose, because who's gonna think about turning around at the very beginning of the stage and to find this entire group of platforms over here. We have a bunch of gems we can actually find over here. So again, this is very important that you go back and get to this, because this is really the only way you can do it. We have more gorgeous views of the mountains out there. More gems over on this side. And you just have that sheep that's trying to run from us there, but as you can see, he did not get away successfully. Nor did that one. And now it's time to... Okay, we've already been down there. Aha, down here. Yeah, that camera view is going to be pretty important. So get really, I definitely recommend having a comfortable camera control, which is kind of why I went a little crazy with it on the first episode. All right, try that again. Yeah, that guy can be a pain. That's all our gems. We're actually done here. But like I was saying, having a good camera setting set up right at the beginning of the game could be actually important. Just in case you miss some gems and your camera settings aren't comfortable. I would try to adjust them to where you get a little bit more comfortable using it, because I think moving that camera around can actually benefit you even if you have sparks there to kind of give you hints on what direction to take, you can still miss gems by not actually looking in the right angle on the screen. So I think that's important to do that. But now we're going to go ahead and leave. We are actually done with the third stage. So we're moving on now to the next flight stage. But yeah, I have to say that I think that those hints being in the game, in my opinion, it's not like holding your hand too much. I think it's more of a, in my opinion, necessary addition to the game, because I think that it's very easy to miss certain things in the game, and having some of those secrets revealed to you through the dragons that you're saving, I think is a nice reward for the player, especially if you're going out of your way to collect all of the dragons. But now we are back in Magic Crafters. Time to flame these wizards once again, and of course the druids. And it is now time to actually head in this direction. Actually, no, that's the boss. I believe the flight stage is over here. Yep, here we go. So we want to now take on Crystal Flight, and this is the third flight stage in the game. So we're making some waves here. Third flight stage. Looks like we have some critters and planes over there, so we need to obviously take care of them at some point. We have more of these rings. Again, these are probably the easiest ones to collect because you're just flying through them, just like these arches that we're going through right now. And you saw there that fairy that had that sign with the arrow on it. That's another example of them giving you essentially like a specific pathway that you are supposed to take. So again, if you're getting lost in these stages, those are going to be your friends, those fairies with the arrows, because they're essentially going to help you. Maybe not on every corner. Like there's another one actually right there, kind of letting us know where we need to go. But for the most part, yeah, they are pretty useful in kind of redirecting yourself if you need that. We have these guys in planes. These are just like Norks that are flying planes for whatever reason. We need to flame their asses because they are one of the things we need to grab 8 of in this stage. We already have 3 of the 4 objects collected. Now all that's left are these very beautiful and shiny treasure chests. We know what to do with these. We've had these before. We just need to flame them. Hopefully we don't miss any, and we should be good to go here. I have about 14 seconds left to spare. This is probably one of the better attempts on a flight stage, if I have to say so myself, because look at that. Got everything with about just under 15 seconds left over, so not too bad. And I do not want to retry that. Thank you very much. Now that we have got that done, there's only one thing left to do in Magic Crafters. Believe it or not, what do you know? Yeah, it's the boss. So this time around, we have something a little bit interesting. This is Blowhard. And believe it or not, yeah, that is the name of the boss. I did not come up with the name. Don't look at me like that. But we are facing off with Blowhard. But it is the next boss that we are going to confront in the game. And so it begins. So this stage is probably one of my favorites of the Magic Crafters world. We have, of course, a nice backdrop out there in the distance. I have to say, I pretty much love all of the ones and all of those backgrounds in the distance. We can actually get a view of the end of the stage up there. You can actually see the return to home portal right from the beginning, kind of like we did in some of the other stages we've seen. But this one is pretty unique. We have these giant windmills in the background. You can see that one out there. I really like the way that looks, and it just fits the environment that we're in here, where we essentially have been, you know, kind of exposed to a lot of different environmental things, like these wizards, for example, you know, shooting environmental attacks on us. They can literally create storms just from their magic. So I like how that kind of fits the vibe of what's going on here. But this is Blowhard. This is actually a wizard that has the power to, once again, create natural disasters. So he will throw these little storms at you. He will, I believe, throw hurricane or tornado things at you as well. Just getting a nice view of that giant windmill. Those things look amazing in this remake, I have to say. But yeah, once again, 3 hits is going to do it. So we just got to hit him 2 more times. We've already hit him once. He is going to move positions like the other bosses have as well. So kind of the same little pattern we have here. And again, that's not going to change with all the bosses. This time we have a little bit of a different challenge to overcome here. Of course, we have the green druids, which can alter the, you know, essentially the movement of these platforms. So we want to take them out, collect all of the gems that are on the platforms.
Thanks for releasing me, Spyro. You have no idea how long I've been trapped in Crystal. And, neither do I. Who are you again?
I'm out of here.
More humor by Spyro the Dragon, ladies and gentlemen. I have to. I just like those little quirky conversations. I may be alone in that, because I think some people, when they're playing a game, that can be a turnoff for them, where they're just like, "Crap, I fell." I think having humorous dialogue in a game is something we don't really get enough of anymore, and everybody's always about their, you know, their shooters, like maybe like their Fortnite or their Call of Duty, you know, I gotta say, I do enjoy playing those games as well, but I think it's something that we kind of miss out on is just kind of the charm and some of the, like the small moments in gaming that makes you kind of, you know, really enjoy some of the characters and some of the NPCs, even some of the dialogue in the game in general. But here we have more of Blowhard. We hit him again right there. He's probably one of the easier bosses, even though he comes off a little bit more intimidating than any of the ones we've seen so far, because he can cast, you know, attacks at you from long range. He's pretty simple to actually attack. He's pretty defenseless other than throwing those storm clouds at you. So once you are in a, you know, a good amount of range from him, I say flame his ass and get out of here. But he has been taken down. He's given us some more gems. That was the last green gem right there, giving us a total of 400, and that's all we needed to complete that stage, other than the one dragon statue that was there as well. So very nice. We have officially completed Magic Crafters World. That means we are officially, at this point right now, halfway through Spyro the Dragon, because there is a total of 6 home worlds, and we just completed number 3, so that's about halfway. So I'm not really mad at the progress we're making here. I think I'm actually doing pretty well. I did try recording this game actually about a year ago, and I decided to redo it because I just really felt like I could have done a better job. And even though I have already had moments where I've been backtracking and missing some things here and there, or maybe forgetting how to make certain jumps, I think overall this has been a pretty good playthrough. Now it's time to take a look at the guidebook, and you can see that, yep, every single stage in this world has been 100% completed. Time to talk to our boy, Tuco.
Thank you, Spyro, for recovering so many of our dragon eggs. Hop aboard for the Beastmaker's world if you're ready. Would you like to go?
Next time on Spyro the Dragon, we will be heading over to Beastmaker's world, and let me tell you, this one is going to be interesting. So until then, I will see you later.